people of these United States? I don't believe so. Still, 68% of the U.S. military budget is directly or indirectly affected by the black budget. Star Wars, otherwise nicknamed Star Wars, Strategic Defense Initiative, relies heavily upon stealth weaponry. By the way, none of this would have been available without us taking apart with a fine-tooth comb crashed flying saucers that either we downed or they crashed themselves into our deserts. None. All these materials on the table, some of which are formed by our space shuttle. By the way, you might ask, what's it shuttling? Well, it's shuttling large ingots of metal that are used, that are specially milled down. First of all, they're milled in the confines of outer space. Most of these metals cannot be produced on the planet. They need a near vacuum of outer space for their production. That's what we're shuttling. We're not even, folks, we're not even getting a semblance of what I'd call pablum. We're not being told anything close to the truth. I believe our government officials have sold us down the drain, lock, stock, and barrel. And by the way, up until several weeks ago, I was employed in the United States government with a rhyolite 38 clearance factor, one of the highest in the world. Excuse me, questions later.
Microphone, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me? Okay. Well, anyway, this microphone is, I'm a tall person, this microphone doesn't get up any further and it's kind of hurting me. Anyway, another thing about Strategic Defense Initiative. I believe it's there to prevent alien attack upon planet Earth. It has nothing to do with the Cold War. As we have seen, the Cold War was a total farce. And it was only a toy, an implement toy, to garner billions and trillions of dollars from good, loving, tax-paying citizens like I am and you are, for what? I don't mind a defense initiative against attack from, if it be from a real threat. But I sure hate to be lied to about there being this kind of communism and that kind of communism, and when we all find out the whole thing has been planned lock, stock, and barrel for the last 75 years by an intergovernmental group, I guess then we kind of know which side the bread is buttered on. Anyway, here's another piece of information for you folks. The DEA, ATF, Drug Enforcement Agency, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, these agencies rely upon stealth tactical weaponry for as much as 40% of its operations and budget. Remember, this is in 1993. The figures have gone up considerably since. The United Nations used American stealth aircraft for over 28% of its collective worldwide operations from 1990 to 1992, and that's taken for the Center for Strategic Studies and United Nations Report 392. Yeah, I would appreciate that, because I'm having to bend over here and it always hurts. Oh, thank you very much. The Guardians of Stealth. There are over 3 distinct classifications of special police used to guard one of our most well-kept secrets. Number 1, this is the most disturbing of all. The MJTF, and that, by the way, that stands for Military Joint Tactical Force, otherwise known as the Black Berets. Some people call them the Delta Force, and there are other names for it. It's a multinational tactical tactical force primarily used to guard the various stealth aircraft worldwide. And by the way, see the picture over here on the table? You might come over there and look at it. After the talk, you might do that, or during the break. You'll find out a nice picture of it there. There was 172 of them built. 10 of them crashed or were crippled. Something went wrong with them. So it was roughly 162 or 3, I can't remember at last count. We gave them away, the federal government gave them away. Bill Clinton signed them away about 6 weeks ago to the United Nations. Is this what we are paying our hard-earned tax money to do, folks? No, I don't believe so, and I know we can do better. And I actually believe, I'm not advocating the overthrow of any government. I don't believe in such for the main reason. The number one, it always kills the wrong folks. But I believe if I have the chance to tell people about these atrocities, I think that there will be some serious letter writing, if not letter writing, some serious conscientious voting done in the very near future on various elected government officials, if not the whole category of elected government officials. Case in point I might want to mention is our local, please ask the questions later if you don't mind. Our local government officials have also kind of labeled us a bunch of rubes and morons, and I think we can expect a lot better than that. Starting off with the World Trade Center bombing. I was hired not too long ago to do a report. First of all, I know about the 90-some-odd varieties of chemical explosives. First of all, I looked at the pictures that were actually taken right after the blast, and the concrete was puddled and melted. The steel and the rebar inside the cement was literally extruded up to 6 feet longer in its length. And there's only one weapon that can do that, and that's a nuclear weapon. And that's a construction nuclear weapon. So obviously the people that they're looking for, that they say was a nitrate explosive that did the damage, they're lying 100%, folks. The people they have in custody probably didn't do the crime. As a matter of fact, I have reason to believe that that very same group did do other crimes. They killed, I believe, a Jewish rabbi in New York, and maybe this was some kind of scapegoat problem, but I'm not sure about that. However, I want to further mention that with the last explosion in Oklahoma City, they also say basically it was a nitrated or fertilizer bomb that did it, a whole truck full. First they came out with the information, said it was 1,000 pounds, then it was 1,500, then it was 2,000, then it was 3,000, then it was 4,000, now it's 20,000. Well, by the way, you can't put 20,000 pounds in a Ryder truck, can you? Now, I've never mixed explosives per se. I know the chemical structure and the application of construction value explosives. I earned a reputation on it. I helped hollow out over 13 deep underground military bases in the United States. I worked on the Malta project. I worked on West Germany on its military bases, and Spain on its, and Italy on its. I can tell you from very sure experience, a nitrate explosive wouldn't have hardly shattered the windows of that building. It would maybe have knocked the facing off. It would have killed a few people, maybe at the most 20 to 30 people tops, but it would never have done that kind of damage. I believe I've been lied to as a member in good standing of these United States, and I'm not taking it any longer. So I'm telling you that you've been lied to. How many people there are in this room? You've all been lied to, lock, stock, and barrel, and I do believe if we all get up and say, we've had enough, we want the truth, and if we're not going to get the truth, we want you to step down. If you won't step down, then I do believe our founding fathers told us and warned us that a federal government structure out of control is totalitarian slavery, and I do believe that we have to do something about it. Now, that's pretty serious, hard, down-to-earth talk. But I don't see any way we're going to get around it. I don't perceive at the present time that we have more than 6 months of country life left in these beautiful United States, the present rate. Right now, the so-called Patriot movement, which has been given a stinging blow by Janet Reno, who, by the way, I want to tell you something about Janet Reno. Janet Reno cheated her way through law school like Bill Clinton did. It's provable. It's on the public record. Janet Reno is a confirmed lesbian. I believe there are a lot of wonderful women that would make a great Attorney General of these United States. They're far more educated, they're far more moral than she is. I would hate to think how we are being hoodwinked by such evil people. We are the laughingstock of the world, and I do believe I can qualify myself by saying I'm a tired American, and I'm now speaking out. I think we can do better. I think these people of these United States, mostly older people above the age of 45, are now seriously worried about their own future. Now I'm going to give you a run by some scenarios here that are scary indeed. The United Nations is a world dictatorship body, period, plain and simple. It is housed in the United States. By the way, some years ago there was an interesting thing that happened. The United Nations sent the Uncle Sam, in quote Uncle Sam, a bill for $8 billion. So the Uncle Sam, the federal government, sent the United Nations a bill for $200 billion. They haven't paid one nickel of rent on prime real estate in New York City. They have special trains that shuttle all these diplomats around. One of my best friend's wives and her 2 little boys was killed by a drunken diplomat from Kuwait, who, by the way, our law, by the way, has no effect. I'll tell you another thing. Military law on military reservations has no effect. Public law on military reservations has no effect. Once again, our wonderful, beautiful, thin sheet of paper called the United States Constitution and another nice thin sheet of paper called our Bill of Rights has been trampled on beyond repair. We have to stand up and say, this is enough, and you as elected officials are going to obey the Constitution of these United States. Number one, by first limiting the amount of your service to our federal government. Like 1 term. 1 ping only, as the Navy would say, 1 ping only. By the way, 1 term is plenty. Because if you're an evil person, 1 term you can do a lot of harm. If you're a good person, you can do a lot of good. 2 ways of looking at it. Our elected government officials have sidestepped the whole thing and says, well, with so-called Contract of America. Let me run this scenario by you, folks. Contract of America is the exact terminology that Adolf Hitler used to subvert his people in 1931. I believe we're not of that same caliber. I believe we can do better. Another thing, the Contract with America is a last-ditch effort by our federal government structure to tear away the Constitution of these United States and the Declaration and the Bill of Rights. A Declaration and a Bill of Rights, rather. Reading these wonderful pieces of paper that were somehow have protected us from economic and other forms of slavery, I doubt if there's more than 50 people in this room, including me, I hate to say, has not seriously read the U.S. Constitution. That's a national disgrace. I'm beginning. I picked up a book out of a library and I photocopied it. I'm reading it extensively. Our founding fathers separated church and state. It did not legislate any form of judgeship or judge body to say that we cannot pray